The caste system is an ingenious device by which we are using this to preserve. Dalits should not build their houses with wood, they should use only mud and stone. This is in many places. This is to preserve the jungles and the ecology and so on. How scientific? This is being taught in Indian universities, and we are asking questions and people are answering this. It's a modern way. Everybody wants to build the houses in wood and so on. Where will the ecology remain? So our ancestors, in their wisdom, have discovered a very ingenious system by which nature can be preserved. It's natural, In fact, you remember when Hitler was running riot in Europe, killing people. Our friend in India wanted to write a letter to him. He said, look, what you are doing and what we are trying to do is the same. You are uselessly killing people off. Please don't kill them. Turn them into laborers. They'll be very useful to you. I tell you, my own professor in Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, told me, Aloysius, you should, however, be grateful that in Australia and America, when the white man went, he killed off all the people there. But when the same white man, Aryan, went to India, he did not kill people. He created caste system and allowed us to live as a lesser human beings. So we should be grateful to that. I tell you, my dear friends, many of us are Ambedkarites. We believe caste is bad and this should not be there and so on. We somehow imagine this is how everybody thinks. Nobody thinks like this. For many people, caste is good. Caste is the genius. Why should we become like the British man, or why should we become like a French man, individual? Here we have communities. One very Madhu Kishwar, the lady's name you might have seen her. She was a feminist. Now she is a great traditionalist. With a lot of resources, she can appoint many of us with a lot of salary. That much power she has. She says, what will poor people do if caste disappears? For example, marriage, for example, funeral. Who will come? Only my caste people will come. So if they abolish caste, who will come? These people cannot have any idea of fraternity except a caste fraternity. In universities, colleges and so on, lot of effort is being made to justify caste. And so, as Sir was rightly saying, there are new ways of interpreting. For example, when in the 19th century itself, they said, the Advaita Vedanta. There is no difference, but then there is difference among people. In philosophically, there is no difference, but there is difference among people. How do you justify this? At a worldly level, we want to maintain the difference. So the whole attempt of your religion is to maintain a worldly difference. So say that openly. Your religion is meant for maintaining the status quo. There are a number of spurious things are coming back, arguments. You must have also heard of something like diversity. Diversity is good. People are different. Each one brings out something. Caste is nothing but a diversity. Why do you want his culture? Bhangi culture, Mala culture, Madhiva culture, all should be abolished. No, let them have those cultures. What they don't understand is, culture is power. And when we don't have power in our culture, you have all the power in your culture, and then call this cultural difference, not power difference. Power difference is being justified through cultural difference. There are a number of attempts like this. And in fact, in India, religion means caste. There is nothing called religion in India. It is caste. That is why many of our friends, for example, secularism, socialism, all these people take religion seriously and then say whether God exists or not exists, as a big debate goes on. Who is bothered about those debates? The debate is, if you believe in God exists, then you consider human being high and low. If you say God doesn't exist, all of us are equally foolish or equally stupid. Which is better? Now the whole idea they want is a religion called Hinduism is a real religion, and it is a religion equal to any other religion. So give us grant equality to all this religion. Now it is Hinduism is same as Buddhism, Buddhism is same as Christianity. All rivers go to the same sea. So all religions reach you to God. And once you say, yes, my religion says you are my lower than I am, or somebody is there, his religion says equality, there is no difference. Everything is same. See? Once they make us accept that all religions are same, then all different ways of life also become same. One should not worry about the fact that I am a downtrodden, I am a Dalit, and so on. It should remain the same. There are very many curious ways of justifying caste system. And one of it is Hinduist religion as created by 19th century. I am not saying for people who might be having it. See, Hinduism, if it is meant as a collection of beliefs and collection of practices practiced by different groups of people in this country, in different regions, I am not saying that as a Hinduism. I am saying Hinduism as a specific religion was created in 18th and 19th century, which is basically Brahmanical in framework, prescription as abiding by caste system. This is the problem. Because there has been a lot of spiritual, really spiritual, mystical work done by ordinary people in various groups, in a smaller religious groups. We are not concerned about that. Now the problem is bringing a whole thing into some kind of modern Brahmanical framework and say that is Hinduism is the greatest problem, and that cannot be a religion in modernity. Anybody else?
In many of our society, we see rites and rituals are being followed. In the family itself, husband wanted something, wife wanted something, there is a diversity within the family members. And it became a barrier to come to bring them into modernity. And how to overcome these problems?
You were mentioning differences of rituals between men and women and husbands and wives. But before that, even in a larger way, many of us are following very useless sort of things. Useless, and which are meaning of which we don't know, but insist on following many of these kind of things. You see, really, rituals are for human beings. You know, when the course of construction of Buddhism, modern Buddhism, Ayodhya and including Baba Sahib Ambedkar and all that, what do you do? In a group of community in a particular place, what is done? How is respect is expressed, for example? You use that. Is it not? Ritual becomes ritual only when it gets detached from actual life. And we do not know what is the meaning of that life, and the meaning is known only for some specialists. And they will tell you this is the meaning of it. Now the whole idea is, I will not do anything of which I do not understand and I do not accept or reject. I should be able to accept or reject. Why is it? You see, you call somebody to make some prayers for a thing. Please tell me, what are you saying? We may have to have that courage to go about asking them. You may be saying something against me. How do I know? And most probably many times he may say, I myself, sir, do not know what I am saying. Then for whose benefit you are saying anything at all? You see, my dear friends, social change is slightly difficult. Many of us on a Saturday evening, we are already doing a great thing that we come here and sit and listen, and then, sir, acha bola hai, sir, bura bola hai, so we listen and go away. But the actual life follows exactly same. Exactly same. And very often we give the reason saying, baal bacha ho gaya hai, husband, wife and children and so on. We are part of a larger community, we cannot change many of these things. Children want this, they want that. Is it people come and ask, they say, my child comes and says, Daddy, who is my God? Who is our God? Is it the teacher says, my God is Rama. All those people whose gods are Rama, please raise your hands. So everybody is raising hands. What does my child do? I never seen Rama in the photo in my home, and my parents never spoke about Rama. So the evening he comes and asks, who is Daddy, who is our God? I have to take my time and tell, look, there is God is inside you. You will become a God one day. If you do nice things to people, everybody, if nice, give presents to people, help people and all that, you will become. There is no other God. You will become God. They believe they will soon understand. No, but I said, no, it's very easy for us now. Okay, you go and get some photographs and put it there. Yeah, we don't take it seriously, but only they take it. No, we are taking it seriously. We shouldn't do that. In many of the meetings in the previous things, I used to say this. Do not celebrate birth, but celebrate the birth. Even be it Baba Saheb's birthday, let us not celebrate it. Let us celebrate Baba Saheb's representation in the Roundtable Conference, Baba Saheb's defense of this Mahatma here. By something we achieved. Something we achieved. The whole idea of Brahmanical philosophy is, the moment you are born, your whole fate is fixed. You are this. But when we are born, our fate is not fixed. We are left open. You can achieve something, you may not achieve something. When we achieve, we become object of veneration and respect and so on. See? But no, children want a celebration. No, tell the children, when you get first mark in the class, we will celebrate it, call your friends and so on. Some effort somewhere has to be started. You see? That is why many of, for example, many of our own friends, have the thread in the hand. He said, please explain why I am tying my thread. If you have some good reason, I also will take tying the thread. But if you don't have any reason, go and ask your parents, why is it tied? No, it is to avoid evil and all. But how can you avoid evil? Avoid evil means say the right thing, say the good thing, then you avoid evil. The good and evil come from within you, not from without you. If you are steady, who can do anything to you? Then you see, many of small little things, we have to explain to people how rituals in our life sort of freezes us and determines us and makes us rigid. Many of these things we will have to make effort, and let us not put the blame on women. Very many times we said women, they are like that, we cannot help it and so on. I know one of my very serious Buddhist friends, some of you know, it's Kunisami in Tamil Nadu, who helped me publish this ALOYIUS volumes. He was a Buddhist. But then as many amongst us, we slightly become better in the economic status, then we need to follow Brahmanical rules. See, in the village, our own small one stone would be there. Once in a year we celebrate that. Otherwise, that's where we sleep, we see sort of gossip, village gossip and so on. But some people in the village become tunes, saprasis, some clerks and so on. He said we have to build our temple. Then once a small thing is built, then we don't allow our own men to come near that. Hey, you said I'll bring a Brahmin from somewhere else. You see, this happens in our own kind of. So many of these kind of things we'll have to be aware of it, and then we try to restrain. Social change, Evan Srinivas long ago said, is a Sanskritization. Actually, what he meant was Brahminization. So he put it nuancedly Sanskritization. This is what many of us are doing. Let us be conscious of it. Let us be why is it the same direction we are going? Now this Buddhist, the same with the daughter, she became an engineer, software engineer. Baba, when my marriage there was a Saat Fera Jaruri, 7 times running around. Said, this woman was astounded, I educated you so highly and you become a modern woman and then you want to go back to this. No, my marriage understanding is that. Then he said, Betty, if that is the case, you will not find your father anymore. He said, I wish you well because it is your choice. You chose to do what you want, but you will not. And then that man didn't come to the marriage. I said, I'll come the next day, I will come. It's a sad thing, but then I have to do it. They all condemned him, you are this man, that man, and all that. But then finally he said, no. He said, if I believe in certain things, I'll have to do certain things. Respecting the other is one thing, but you yourself granting legitimacy to the same thing is another. Somewhere we'll have to begin. That's what my point is.
Regarding this ritual, sir, I asked one of our Buddhist monks, Vinashika. So what I asked from that, even the Buddhists are following the ritual. Sorry. So what he said, so this Buddhism it's the religion of intellectuals. So common people cannot understand it. So that's why these rituals are of relaxation techniques. Ritual is a relaxation technique, and this anapanasati is the concentration technique. Vipassana is purification technique. These two techniques, concentration and purification techniques, intellectual can understand. But to keep the people together, rituals are very essential. So that's why Buddhist even countries and they follow the rituals. How far it is? What's your justification?
From one set of superstition, we are asked to convert into another set of superstition. I think the original superstition may be better because we don't take that seriously. See, the problem is, you see, man also is a ritual being. You know, there is a certain amount of symbolic expressions are necessary, but it becomes a problem when it gets detached from the circumstances, detached from the context, and insist. For example, like like it is said, in a country where drinking is not permitted, you drink wine. Ritual drinking of wine has to be. Is it no? The whole religion develops within a cultural context. If this shifted out of that, goes to another culture, and then insists the same thing should be coming there, then it becomes a real ritual, oppressive ritual. Now, apart from that, this Buddhism thing, I have one tension here. Is Buddhism a religion? Or is a religion of all religions? Touching the very foundation of religions, all religions, challenging the foundation of all religions. I would rather see the second way. Okay, in the time of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, there was a lot of problems, and Baba Sahib wrote to Periyar also. Why don't you also become a Buddhist? Then Periyar said, you see, by remaining rooted where I am, I may be allowed to churn the whole thing from inside and then push the entire thing towards a little closer to what you call Buddhism. Then if I opted out, some of my followers might become Buddhist, but then there will not be anybody who will be churning the whole mass. At a certain critical point, Baba Sahib had to do that. But Baba Sahib himself had this tension, whether to set it up as a distinct religion as another religion, or to say that this is a religion that religionizes the entire religions of the world. Now, that tension is always being maintained. There is a need, I can say, that we need to distinguish ourselves as a Buddhist. Now, but what should distinguish ourselves as a Buddhist? Is it some color we wear, or some hair, or some dharma we, some names and so on? What about Baba Sahib? Baba Sahib, when he was with the raised hands standing in the round table conference, he said he's a bodhisattva standing there. But finally, when he chose to take up Shivir and all that, I found, yeah, he is giving a concession to the people. People are not ready. But I basically deny what the Buddhist monk supposed to have said. Buddhism is a religion of the intellectuals. This is another intellectual fraud, I tell you. You see, Buddha himself, the Madhyam Veda, middle path. Middle path is the insight of common man. The way ordinary people engage with the reality is not to take anything too seriously, but that don't get too much excited in one thing or too much depressed by another. Remain a little detached. these things I find among common people, and more particularly among the tribals. I've been living with the tribals, I see it clearly. They said, the child is dead. They said, yeah, for half an hour also there is some problem. After they briskly go over, they say, anybody who is born will die. Will die. And where is he gone? He's gone here. He is there. Their own meetings, village meetings will take place sitting on the stones they put on the thing. They said the witness is somebody who lived before me, and the witness is we who are sitting, and the witness who are to come in future. In fact, the whole reality is a reality, continued reality. You see? And it is that Buddha took and raised it to extraordinary levels. So unless it refers back to the common man's experience, Buddha would not have spent all his 50 years desperately moving to one village to another village, telling the ordinary people what they understood, and he was hankering after them. People are moving after them. This monkism, at one point in time, maybe it was relevant. And it is not at all, I don't find its relevance at all in this. You see, originally the idea was, every human being should take time off from the immediate, concrete, day-to-day activities, sit back, relax, and then contextualize it in its present, future, and past, and reorient himself so that he can get back to the normal life with a renewed vigor, strength, equanimity, peace of mind, and so on. This is for everybody. Everybody. And everybody used to do that for some time during the early years, stay some time in the viharas and then learn and then come back and so on. And a few among them would stay longer and so on, and some of them cannot go back to the original place, so they stay, and eventually it became an institution. And if they claim that their location is the same as the location of Brahmins among Hindus or priests among the Christians and so on, nothing could be more disastrous. Yeah.
The idea was to understand Buddhism in depth. It's not possible.
This is the problem. I have done the rituals. So I have performed. No, you have not done. You have damaged yourself. Even that, that Trisarna and Panchashila, Ashtanga, Buddha never called upon to do that. Buddha called upon to think on those lines, and if you find them useful, practice. If you don't find them, you reject some of them, take some of them, reinterpret some of them, and so on. You see, this two-tier reality, lower truth and higher truth, is basically Brahmanicam. Idol worships for the ordinary and Vedanta for the elite. I think that is we are bringing that into Buddhism again. We are bringing that into Buddhism. I think that is why it is very, very, the Brahmanical attitude and Brahmanical framework has become so naturalized amongst us that even Buddhism we try to reinterpret in that way, Buddha never called for sarana. Buddha never called for surrender. The one thing that characterizes Buddha is, he is the one who challenged, please don't surrender to anybody. Please don't surrender to anybody. Now if we say that ordinary people cannot understand, so for them surrender, I am afraid we are basically missing. Now I don't at all underestimate the difficulties. What Buddha is calling is, don't live according to instincts, but live according to reason. Reason and humanity, compassion and so on. Now, one young man came to the old Buddhist and then said, what should I do in order to attain nirvana? He said, the Panchashila and Ashtanga Marga, all this I have been practicing. I have been practicing. In my last 80 years, I have been trying to do that, but I don't say I have come to practice that. I am only still struggling. Because it depends on the meaning you give to all these words, no? Don't kill. Why? I never committed a murder, so I was never sent to jail. So I am following one prescription of Buddha. No, it depends on how you understand don't kill. Killing, there is hundreds of ways of killing without taking the life of people. No? In the same way, what is untruth? Don't utter untruth. What is untruth? You know, our understanding of all these things keep on expanding as time goes on. And that is what the Buddha left it open, so that there is an accommodation for further and further explanation. Equality, for example, at one time that women are not equal, men are our equal. But now women are furious, they said, no, they are equals. And even at the Buddha time, he was theoretically I understand what I thought equality applies to women also. Ananda reminded him this, yes. Yeah, it is. But then the times are ready, not ready. But then, yeah, we have to start somewhere, you know. That continuous struggle, no? And the value is not that you reach the goal. The value is in your continuous struggling. This is the beautiful thing. No? Now we do certain rituals and so on. Now we are a Buddhist? Certainly not. Now I have been trying to practice certain elements, but I have not been practicing. Then you are a Buddhist. Buddha, see the shram, the effort, the direction that you are struggling. That is what is Buddhism is about. Not such practices you have practiced, so you have become a Buddhist. No, nobody can become a Buddhist. Nobody can. We can all struggle towards that path only. You see? That is why I have become a Buddhist, the third stage, fourth stage. You see, many of these are institutionalization. Now when we are retrieving Buddhism, when we are taking back what is good for us today, modern times, we need to have a debate among ourselves. What do we take back? And there have been a lot of distortions and perversions within Buddhism itself. How do we do? How do we do with that? You know, one of the saddest example for me was the Buddhist country committed genocide and ethnocide. And then more and more scholars keep telling me, more than the politicians, it is the monks who are involved in killing the Tamils in Sri Lanka. More than the politicians. Politicians have to, at least we have to come back to power, we cannot kill so many people. But then the Buddhists have absolutely seem to have no reins. That is why, at what a single moment like that, then the whole of your construction of your Buddhism collapses. That is why the understanding of what is a new way of life is an extremely complex and a very kind of critical thing. Let us not too easily say that we all become Buddhist, we follow this because certain rituals and so on. I wouldn't dare to say that. Yeah, we are trying to restrain our instincts, we are trying to control our mind, we are trying to not have evil thoughts and so on, but then we don't succeed at all. We don't succeed at all. That is why the whole attempt is to Brahminize Buddhism. You see, the Brahminical thing seems to be the rock bottom of everything. So that determines how we interpret many of these things. And then also the immediate political compulsion. See, the political compulsion is there constantly. Organize as Buddhists and then demonstrate our strength and so on. While some things will be going on like that, we may not, but then we should never justify that. And then all our aim should be to reach the lower and lower levels so that we can include more and more people towards a more humane life. Humanity, humane existence is what Buddhism is all about. And some may practice one way of Buddhism, another way of Buddhism, third way of Buddhism. That's all cultural and linguistic differences, etc. But we could have this debate. It's a very important debate. We should continue maybe in a little more specialized circles.
See, recently one of my friends, Vallur Srinivas Rao, who is a member of BSI, he just called me. He was my co-officer earlier, and he knows that I am focal upon the student of Pachepas College and from Chennai. So casually he just called me for a BSI meeting without telling me that it was BSI meeting. So when I went there, he could not come because the venue was shifted to first floor of Telugu University here. So I just went up in search of him, and then I sat there. And then in self-introduction, I said I am founder and friend of Vallur Srinivas. Then they said, "Oh, you please wait." And then the meeting was over. They were telling me we intend celebrating centenary of focal at